Yeah, I know like the Kentucky Distillers Association, they've tried to make a lot of changes in regards of making sure that everybody has a fair shot. And I think they're really capitalizing on what can happen for the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, kind of also trying to pick after that sort of like that napification or getting that same kind of experience where people can come, go through the trail, find something, join a club, a bourbon club, and kind of have stuff shipped to them, but it's just not there at the same time. Now, do you look at some of like the biggest inhibitors right now? Because we see that wine has a lot of that value to it. We know that I've seen in different kinds of legislation that distributors are pushing against this, and even the wine industry is pushing against this at time to time as well, because they necessarily don't want spirits to have the same exact rules and regulations that wine's having.
Yeah, I think I want to be a little bit more generous to the wine industry, maybe just because I have a lot more, I deal with a lot of those people, so I hear their concerns. I think that their fear is much more that opening up the rules might invite changes to their own. They're not necessarily fearing the competition of spirits, although that it always is in the background of somebody taking a little bit of share. I think it's much more they don't want to lose their own market out there if, again, a direct consumer shipping bill opens up and then suddenly distributors say that wine needs to be restricted as well. But I agree, they're not going to push any spirits laws. That's going to have to come from the spirits industry itself. And it really does come down to combating a lot of those claims and, spurious claims, in my opinion, that opponents of direct-to-consumer shipping bring out there, that it expands access for minors, which, is definitely a concern out there. I think everybody involved in the alcohol industry should be aware of and trying to prevent sales to minors. I think that we should be skeptical that direct-to-consumer shipping is especially prone to sales to minors as opposed to any other avenue out there. There are a lot of ways we can protect that, verify ages, use carriers to make sure that it's not actually delivered to minors, those sort of fixes out there that have really largely worked for the wine industry. Basically, the only time you hear about a minor getting a direct consumer shipping of wine is from a sting operation, not from a normal sale of direct consumer shipping wine. And so I think just creating realism there's a lot of fears that direct consumer shippers won't pay taxes, which is completely, that's against our basic business model right there, is we have, through our system, we've facilitated hundreds of millions of dollars over the years going to states from direct consumer shipping, taxes that they would not have received if these rules had not been in place. So I think it's extremely illegitimate to say that, if it's an online sale, nobody's going to be paying taxes. That completely contradicts our entire business model. And frankly, there's a big claim out there that expanding direct-to-consumer shipping will expand counterfeit products, which just seems really crazy to me that if I'm worried about, going onto eBay and getting counterfeit bourbon, that I would go to the actual distillery itself, that they would sell me a counterfeit product. It seems like that is actually helping the counterfeit argument is to get it directly from the source. So I think there are a lot of fears out there, but it's a matter of both, I think, recognizing the legitimate ones and saying, how do we work through those? And then how do we argue against the illegitimate ones and make sure that a legislator, a state representative or senator who may not be very expert in these issues doesn't get swayed by a distributor or a lobbyist who, is spending millions of dollars a year to lobby those efforts and kind of combat this market is how do we move forward? And frankly, the wine industry really has a lot of lessons learned from that, how they have gone through state by state and expanded, how they've worked with state legislatures. I think that the spirits industry can really learn from that and how do we move forward, not by necessarily saying that wine is the enemy, but, how can they be a partner perhaps?